Welcome back to the MarTech Unravelled podcast. Today, we kick off season 2. I want to thank all my listeners and subscribers from season 1. I'm looking forward to another enlightening season with you all. Our topic for today is one close to my heart. We are talking about product management, the glue of great digital products. Our guest is a seasoned product management professional. Jason Masai is the head of product at M-Pesa Africa. Welcome to the podcast, Jason.
Thank you, Fiona, and glad to be on this podcast with you.
Thank you so much. Really happy to have you here. So to kick us off, could you tell us a bit about your background and what led you into the world of product management?
Thank you. That's an interesting question, which I don't get asked so often. So as you said, currently I'm the head of product at M-Pesa Africa, which is a joint venture between Safaricom Group and Vodacom Group. And we essentially help scale M-Pesa across the continent. We have a presence in 6 markets. About my background, educationally, I have a degree in economics from the University of Nairobi. But I'm also a very curious person. So I dabbled a bit in information technology, which I think sort of gave me the good, the very good background that I do right now with product. So professionally, I started out as a banker.
Okay.
Even though I never saw myself as a banker. I started out my career in Barclays, 2006 December. I remember.
Nice.
As a teller in a branch. And I think just being in a branch, interacting with customers, when I look back, actually that was one of my best jobs, because talking to different customers daily. And customer focus is essentially the bedrock of product management, being very customer centric. So I think that foundation, in customer facing roles really gave me a good foundation in what I do right now in product. So I didn't do that for very long. So I moved around in a number of roles within the branch. And I'm really fortunate that I had good leaders who saw the potential that I had. My first boss, she was called Magdalene Mnene.
All right. Nice.
She really pushed me to experience different elements of banking, like sales, team leadership. So at some point I actually got to lead a team at the branch at a fairly very young age, almost in my second year of employment.
Oh, wow. That's quite a challenge.
Yeah, quite a challenge. And it really caused me to grow and see the potential that I have. But, maybe if I could fast forward, in 2015, by then I'd moved and become a product manager looking after digital channels within the bank. And I attended a product accelerator, which was organized by the Helix Institute of Digital Finance, which is under Microsave. And they actually formally and, was taken through this, this principle or this craft of product management. How do you build products? How do you engage customers? How do you have a feedback loop? When you build a product, to just make sure it's fit for what you built it for.
Yeah.
And I could say that was really my first, understanding of, what product management is, how do you build a product. So it is essentially a scholarship. And that has really, it gave me a very good foundation of what I do in product. From then on, I'm really fortunate as well to have had different opportunities within the bank because after leaving from my role as a digital product manager, I transitioned to a role doing segment for mass market within Barclays Bank, looking after the mass market segment. There I learned about, how do you build customer value proposition?
Yeah.
How do you do customer research? How do you look at the customer 360 from a product process, channel point of view?
Yeah.
Which has really, really helped me to become all-rounded as a product professional. So that's essentially what really helped me to sort of build my craft in product. Yes.
Nice. I love that. One of the things I definitely love about product is that, it gets to sit at the intersection of marketing, technology, consumer, business. And that's what makes it interesting and dynamic.
Correct.
And, how do you balance, these sometimes conflicting priorities when you're building or evolving a fintech product, such as M-Pesa? You've talked about your experience in the banking sector, in different areas, and now you're building, M-Pesa. So how do you balance the conflicting priorities, as a product manager, sitting at the intersection of all those three areas?
So that's a great question. And I think that's the tension which every product manager has. How do you balance all these competing priorities? So a couple of pointers. So one, I aim to build using customer insights to inform what I'm building. In product management, we call it product discovery. So essentially, what insights about your customer do you know or have you found out that could actually help you to build a better product or to improve an existing product? So using user insights is very, very critical. So we don't just build, but, the build has to be informed by a reasoning behind it. Why are you building? And for me, user insights is very, very critical into the why I build, what I build. Yeah. So essentially looking at data, talking to customers, so that if someone challenges me, why are you building, feature X, product X, I can actually tell you why I'm building it. So I think user insights is very, very important. Secondly, prioritization as a product manager is very, very important. How do you prioritize what you build within a specific, delivery period? That's also very, very important. Depending on what is your North Star or what is the objective of the organization, there are a couple of, components that you can use to, help you prioritize. And for example, first and most importantly is, what is the objective of the organization? What is the organization trying to achieve at this moment in time?
Yeah.
When you're building, that is very, very critical because essentially what you're building should be helping the organization achieve its objective. So that's one. Secondly, what business value are you driving for the customer? What value are you driving for the customer? Yeah. So is it user experience? Is it, for example, an improved process?
Convenience.
Is it convenience? Is it a new product to enhance the value proposition? And so on and so forth.
Yeah.
So what value are you driving for the product? And then thirdly is also what capacity do you have? For example, you could want to build something, but you don't have the required engineering capacity to actually build it at that moment.
Yeah.
So that also helps you balance out what do you build now or what you either build later or build a part of it. We call it building iteratively. Yeah. So what capacity do you have? And with that capacity, what can you achieve? Yeah. So essentially, when you're planning to build something, in a time boxed period, especially using some methodology like agile. You decide, what do I want to build in the next 2-3 months, what capacity do I have, and you sort of plan accordingly.
Yeah.
But again, now overall, just to sort of cap or answer the question, a portfolio approach, I like to use a portfolio approach where I sort of, if I'm building, or planning for delivery for the next 2-3 months, I sort of put different components. So I'll have something that I'll deliver that will help me to achieve revenue, customer impact, but then I also have a component of my capacity, which is dedicated to building something strategic. And I might not build all of it now, but I'll build a component which I can sort of build on in subsequent delivery periods. So I think a portfolio approach helps you to achieve a lot over a period of time. So the long and short of the answer is, prioritization, also knowing why you're building.
Yeah.
Yes, that's critical.
Yeah, I like how your portfolio approach, because I think one of the big things or challenges I've seen as well, in product as well, when I was building products, is there's a tension between what the business thinks should be built versus what the consumer is asking for. Because sometimes there's a tension of, the hippo in the room.
Correct.
Right? That
Correct.
acronym?
Yes.
Yes. They have their opinion, and
Yeah.
sometimes they'll push it down, the product team's agenda. So, I like the way you think about it, where it's like revenue is, is addressing the business need.
Correct.
Consumer is also addressing the consumer need. And then strategic is more long-term,
Correct.
more, product improvement, UX,
Yes.
things that are maybe not urgent or critical, but
Yeah.
nice to have and will improve the overall experience.
Correct.
So have you had those, moments where there's a hippo in the room, or you managed to figure that one out?
No, you as a product manager, you cannot run away from that scenario. And the beauty about it is how do you pitch what needs to be done? And I think as a product manager, what has helped me is using data. How do you sort of bring data front and center into that conversation
Yeah.
of what should be built,
Yeah.
or even how should we build it? Yeah. So I think that's very critical.
Yeah.
Some battles you lose, some you win. It's not all rosy, but I think it's building that practice of just using data.
Yeah.
Vis-a-vis if there's one option A vis-a-vis option B, how do you bring data front and center and say, I think we should build this, and this is the data that's telling us why we should build, or back to my first comment on user insights, this is what customers are saying. Yeah. That can also sort of be an answer, or maybe like a valid point onto why you should build something. So you lose some, you win some, but I think the beauty is just to learn how to be able to defend why you're building with data and user insights.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And on that point of data, can you walk us through like how your team uses data, from user behavior data or marketing performance metrics, to inform the product roadmap? Maybe give us an example of, a metric that helped to drive a particular feature build or a roadmap decision.
So currently at M-Pesa Africa, we serve a number of markets. For example, I look after the M-Pesa app across 6 markets. And a good example we've used is data from contact center. So in all the markets where we have presence, we have contact centers, and we do have M-Pesa customers calling in for different reasons. So that has been actually a very key data point on getting data on M-Pesa top call drivers across all our markets, and then seeing how do we deliver features to allow customers to self-serve on the M-Pesa app, to reduce demand on contact centers. And for example, we've actually been able to land self-service features like, the ability to reset your PIN, ability to, reverse M-Pesa transactions across some of our markets, ability to even activate your M-Pesa account, and so on and so forth. So that's actually been, a good use case that we've actually used. A second data point that we've actually used is data from the Play Store and the App Store.
Okay.
If you have an application, that can actually be a treasure trove of good customer insights, because there you'll pick customer giving you feedback about your app, features in the app, improvements that you need to make on the app. And for us, that has been actually an invaluable data source, just to know what can we build that will actually speak directly or speak directly to customers in terms of value.
Yeah.
So for us at M-Pesa Africa, we've on the M-Pesa app, that has actually been a very good data point that we've used. We also have other tools that we have, like Google Analytics, which we use to look at our customer funnels, across key customer journeys. And we actually are able to check where do we have drop-offs along, key customer journeys.
Yeah.
And also how we're able to improve the customer journeys to, reduce the drop-offs. So that has also been very, very invaluable.
Yeah.
And then the other element we've actually built in-app feedback mechanisms across the M-Pesa app, across all our markets. So you don't necessarily need to get out of the app to give us feedback, either on a specific feature or on the app itself. So we've actually created a form where customers can give us feedback, and we actually pick up that feedback and we use it to sort of feed it back to our roadmap in terms of what customers are saying about us.
Yeah.
And I think in my former life, I worked on a product called Timiza.
Okay.
While in ABSA, which was a virtual digital banking proposition. Hypothesis testing is something we used when I was a product manager of Timiza, where you came up with a hypothesis, especially on the lending side, that if you, for example, bumped the limits of some customers, they would actually perform better. Or if you actually gave them an offer, they would actually pay better. So hypothesis testing, I've also found it to be, which essentially is what people call A/B testing. And you test it on a control group vis-a-vis your universe of customers. It has really sort of been a good data point on knowing if something will work or if it will not, but at a controlled in a controlled manner, and then it can actually help you know whether you want to open it up to the full base or not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh wow, I love how you're talking about the different ways you're leveraging different channels, different touch points, and different technology to feed into your development decisions.
Yeah.
The contact center, that's people calling in, you're seeing there's a pain point that they're having.
Correct.
You're taking that feedback and you're saying, okay, what can we do to address that feedback, but also reduce the volume of calls that are coming into the contact center, because, we can find another solution or address this in a different way.
Correct.
The App Store, a great one as well. That's where people give unbiased feedback,
Yeah.
But you're taking it on and you're saying, okay, so people are saying this, so what can we do to make it better?
Correct.
Not many companies, take a lot of consumer feedback and actually do anything about it.
Yeah.
Is it a culture that has been ingrained in M-Pesa Africa, that, you're always listening to the consumer and you're always looking to hear what they're saying and, make the right decisions to improve their experience? Because I think, in a previous episode, we talked about customer experience and how it's important to, improve the customer journey and so on. So I love that you are taking it as a priority. So is it a cultural thing that has been embedded in the organization?
Yes, it is, and it's a focus within the organization that we are really clear who is our customer. So, for example, I serve customers on the M-Pesa app, for example, in Tanzania, DRC, Mozambique, Lesotho. I'm very clear that my customer is the actual end user within Lesotho, Mozambique, DRC, and so on and so forth. So it's a culture that sort of been embedded within the organization, that we have to do what is right by our customers. And how do you do right, by your customers is just by knowing, what do they want, what don't they want.
Yeah.
And also understanding what are their problems. Because as a product manager, you essentially solve problems. So being super focused on what problems our customers are facing, and then looking for innovative ways of how we can be able to solve those problems on the platforms that we have.
Yeah. Now, building products in an emerging market is quite an adventure. So what lessons have you learned about aligning marketing and product teams to drive adoption, engagement, and growth in a super app context and in an emerging market?
It's a good question. So first, I think communication is very, very important. Just ensuring that both your product and marketing teams are super clear on what is the product vision, or what are you trying to solve for your customer. And I like the fact that we are set up, we essentially use Agile for our delivery.
Yeah.
So what you have is you have teams, people or individuals from different teams embedded within a squad, that essentially does delivery for the super, for example. So from the get-go, you have everyone from compliance, from legal, from product, from engineering to marketing, understanding this is a problem we're trying to solve, and this is how we sort of intend in terms of solutioning. So everyone being clear from the get-go of what we're trying to achieve is very, very important. And communicating that is very, very important. Because in some setups which I've been involved in, you get marketing always come at the tail end when you sort of want to go to market. Yeah. So that's the time they're sort of trying to understand, okay, what is this product? What is the value proposition? And so on and so forth. Which, it takes them a bit of time for them to be able to internalize, the value proposition, what you're trying to achieve. But if they actually were there from the ideation stage, this is what we want to do, this is how we want to build it, and this is how we've iteratively, developed it so far to how it's looking like, is very, very important. So ensuring that, marketing, product teams, including engineering teams, are very well aligned on what is the product vision. Secondly, I think having shared KPIs is also very, very important.
Okay.
Yeah. Because if my KPI is to drive active users, for example, in the M-Pesa app, and the marketing team, their KPI is totally different. Obviously, they'll focus on where, towards their KPI. But if you have shared KPI, so that what I'm delivering is what the marketing team is delivering, is very, very important, because you have a lot of synergy in terms of, what you want to deliver. So having, shared KPIs is very, very important. I think thirdly is how do you have cross-functional, ceremonies or meetups where you sort of, discuss this is where we are, this is for potentially what you're forecasting to do.
Yeah.
And that involves everyone, who's part of the product team, engineering, marketing, and so on and so forth. So having, from the get-go, knowing what is the product vision, but then having frequent, ceremonies or sessions where you sort of sharing, this is the feedback we've had so far, this is the progress we have had so far, these are the challenges we are facing. It really helps them sort of provide good input into for example marketing strategies.
Yeah.
For example, if they're doing a campaign, they can actually know how do we sort of pivot if we need to pivot. And you're doing a campaign, how do we pivot if we do need to pivot? So I think that's very important.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. And let's double click a little bit on that, because I really like what you're saying. So now you're talking about how do you bring together everyone who's involved with building the product to drive in the same direction.
Correct.
So I would love to know, like, when you talk about shared KPIs, maybe tell us what are those KPIs, like maybe one or two that are shared.
Yes.
Because sometimes, as you said, the engineering team can have their KPIs, marketing can have their KPIs.
Yes.
Customer success can have their own.
Yeah.
So what are those shared KPIs and what do they look like? And then secondly, what are those ceremonies and maybe how often do you have them and who's in the room?
Yeah.
I think that would be really interesting to know.
Wow, interesting. So an example of shared KPIs could be, for example, revenue. For example, if you have an application, we could have a KPI on revenue. For example, for financial year, we want X number of X number in terms of revenue. Another shared KPI could be active users. For example, in our case, we track active users, which essentially we've seen if you get your active users up, all the other downstream metrics like revenue sort of take care of themselves. So that could actually be, a KPI that can be shared between engineering, product, and marketing. So everybody's effort is actually geared to getting us to that number of active users.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So,
And even the features that are being built are thinking, okay, is it going to get more active users?
Correct. And I think maybe just to add, as a product manager, the most important thing is how do you tie what you're building to actual business value? Yeah, I know probably we'll get into that a bit later, but that's always very, very important, making sure that what you're building actually contributes to actual business value in terms of either revenue, active users, and so on and so forth. Yeah.
No, you can please go ahead and expound on it.
Yeah. So I mean, I find that some product managers just sort of deliver features, which I think is good, but why are you delivering, those features? Ideally, there needs to be a why. And that why is now the business value. What does it mean for the organization if you build feature X? What does it mean for the organization when you build feature Y? Yeah. How does that help us to get to that number that we have, or be active users or revenue? Yeah. So that's very, very important. I found the most effective product managers are those who are able to connect what they are building to actual business value or actual customer value. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. And on the ceremonies, like the joint ceremonies, what do those look like?
Yeah. So the ceremonies could be different based on the methodology that you're using. So in our case, we use the scaled agile framework. So we have quarterly planning sessions where we actually plan what we will build for that quarter. And then within the quarter, we've actually time boxed our delivery into iterations of 2 weeks. So every 2 weeks, we actually come back and play back. We said we will deliver feature X, Y, Z in these 2 weeks. So we actually come and play back and show what the team has delivered, and show a demo. Yeah. So every 2 weeks, we sort of have a sync where we actually showcase what we've delivered. And that actually builds a lot of momentum because the team can actually see what they're actually aiming towards.
Yeah.
And then in those sessions, we also share how we're also doing on the business side, on the commercial side as well. Yeah. How our numbers growing, so they can actually tie what the team is doing, on a day-to-day basis to the commercial objectives of the organization. Yeah.
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 Okay. That's really cool. That's really cool. So what are some of the core skills, both technical and soft skills, that you believe are successful for a product manager today? Also adding the element of a product manager in an emerging market.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So in obviously in an emerging market, obviously product management is a craft that is slowly just gaining traction. But I think with the way the world is connected today, we have the benefit of just learning from the best of the best of what's happening across the world. So for a product manager, I think I look at it in two sides. One is the technical skills, and then the soft skills. So essentially, as a product manager, you should be technically proficient. What do I mean by that? Is ideally you should be able to sustain a conversation with the engineering teams on what they're building. And the beauty about product management is you have software developers who've transitioned into product managers. You know, technical people who've transitioned to product managers as well. So being able to be technically proficient is very, very important because you can sustain a conversation. We're building feature X, it's going to take 2 weeks, and you're actually able to be curious and ask questions. Why take 2 weeks? Why not 1 week?
Yeah.
Why not a week and a half? And so on and so forth. So not knowing everything technically in terms of details, but just being able to just understand what is happening and being able to sustain a conversation. I think that's very, very critical. Secondly, ideally, you should be able to get to tell good design from fluff.
Okay.
Yeah, as a product manager, you should be able to tell what is good design for your customers. It's very, very important for a product manager to be able to look at a customer journey and envision your customer using that journey and being able to tell if it will actually work for your customer or not. Yeah. From the point of view, is it intuitive? Will your customer struggle? And so on and so forth. So I think being able to, and even use tools like Figma, and so on and so forth. A product manager should be able to look at a customer journey and tell good UX, from fluff. Yeah. So I think that's very, very important. The other one is on how are you able to also work with data? How are you able to sort of look at data and be able to build out or take out insights from data? So I think that's very, very critical. Are you able to look at either data on your customers and be able to tell, probably is there an issue here? Are you able to look at funnels, for example, and see, there's a drop off here, and what do you do about it? So just being able to be comfortably work with data, I think gives you an edge as a product manager. Now, on the soft skills, one of the biggest skills is just curiosity.
Okay.
Being curious about everything and everything about your product, about your customers, and being able to ask the right questions. Yeah. So for me, I define curiosity as the ability to be able to ask the right questions. Yeah. Being able to ask the right questions to your customers, to other stakeholders, enables you to drive the right conversations. Yeah. So I think curiosity for me as a product manager is very key.
Yeah.
Collaboration. How well do you work with other people?
Yeah.
Because product is a multidisciplinary craft.
Yeah, absolutely.
You work with marketing, you work with engineering, you work with compliance, you work with legal, you work with your executive teams, you work with customers. How well are you able to collaborate with other people?
Yeah.
Will really determine on how well you are able to thrive as a product manager. Stakeholder management. How you're able to sort of manage your stakeholders. First, identify who are your key stakeholders, and how do you manage your stakeholders.
Yeah.
You have to learn to say no.
Okay.
And be comfortable with it.
Yeah.
As a product manager, you get a lot of things thrown at you, and you can't say yes to everything.
Because you have a team to protect.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. And you also have an objective to achieve. You also have some set KPIs you need to achieve.
Yeah.
And you also have, constrained capacity. I mean, you don't have endless capacity. So you have to learn to be comfortable to say no to your stakeholders, and also explain why you're saying no.
Yeah.
Sometimes also say yes, with an understanding of why you're saying yes. And sometimes also know when to trade off. There's a lot of nuances to stakeholder management. Yeah, knowing when to trade off, knowing when to say yes,
Yeah.
knowing when to say no. It's very, very important.
Yeah.
Being able to prioritize, we touched on it a bit earlier in the conversation.
Yeah.
How are you able to prioritize? And as you prioritize, obviously, there'll be stakeholders who will be impacted. How do you then go back to those stakeholders and say, I'm prioritizing because of X, Y, Z, and being able to sort of bring them to your perspective. So I think that's very, very important. Storytelling.
Okay. Yeah.
How do you tell your story? Because when you're building your product, you essentially need to tell your story. Where are you coming from as you build this product?
Yeah.
And also, where do you want this product to head in terms of your product vision?
Right.
And what have you achieved? As a product team, being able to articulate your story is very, very important.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, the work that your team is doing could seep through the cracks, and yet they're actually doing very impactful work. So being able to tell your story, I think, is a very important skill. Customer centricity.
Yeah.
How do you focus your team's effort around the needs of your customer? As opposed to just building. You could just build, for example, and say you're rolling out, you're shipping out features.
Yeah.
But how you're able to sort of center your team that whatever they're building is actually speaking and resonates with your customers.
Is solving a need.
Is solving a need for your customer.
Yeah.
So that speaks to a product manager who's, overly, if I can say, fascinated by the problem that your customer is facing. And then that helps you to sort of center and focus your teams to solving those problems. So just being very passionate about those problems and seeing how do you innovatively solve those problems.
Yeah.
Lastly, I think it's leadership. I think is also important because as a product manager, you're a leader. You're leading a team to be able to achieve an objective. So leadership is very crucial. How do you reallocate resources? How do you ensure that your team actually feels motivated to be part of your team? And that what they're doing is actually something which is worthwhile. I think that's it. But I think a product manager, there's a lot of skills that a product manager needs to have. But essentially, I think leadership for me speaks a lot. You're leading a team and rallying them, to achieve a certain objective. Yeah, yeah.
Wow. Okay. So product manager is multi-dimensional, multi-skilled,
Correct.
very dynamic as well.
Yeah.
And to that point about the leadership, maybe you can talk to us a little bit about like what does a product team look like? Now that you are have those diverse skill set, probably means the team that you're also leading is also quite diverse.
Correct.
What does that team structure look like? Who's in your team? Give us a bit of a flavor of the people you're leading. Yeah.
So, I mean, it varies from context to context because different organizations are set up differently.
Yeah. Okay.
But in my context, for example, in my team, I have UI UX designer, I have product managers, I have a fully fledged engineering team, composed of front-end developers, that's iOS, Android, back-end developers, quality assurance, just to ensure what you're building is actually bug-free. You also have, teams, or people from other, components, like cybersecurity, so part of the team.
Yeah.
Compliance is also part of the team because essentially as we build, there's something we call compliance by design. So you don't do compliance at the tail end. You essentially make sure that as you're ideating a product or ideating a feature, you're building it compliance from the get-go. So compliance, DevOps, just to ensure your release pipelines are up to scratch. Solution architects, testers. Yeah, so it's quite a diverse team. It's quite a diverse team.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Makes sense. That's why you need to be diverse as well.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So product management is often misunderstood. We've talked quite at length, as to what it is,
Yeah.
but still some see it as project management, others just as feature prioritization. So maybe you can debunk some of the misconceptions you've encountered. Yeah.
Okay. So project management and product management, I mean, that's sort of two different disciplines. So I would speak about project management, but for product managers, essentially what they are problem solvers and they are value creators. So essentially you solve problems and you create value by the work that you do. That's what, in my view, I think is defines product managers from any other discipline. Product managers are not, backlog managers. They are not, delivery managers. Essentially, you're creating value and solving problems. And you do that by knowing and owning the why and the what. Yeah. So why are we building and what are we building? Yeah. And what we build, there's a clear why behind what we're building. Yeah. Project managers now essentially look at, when are we going to ship out something? But for product managers is what are we building and why are we building?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And rallying the troops.
And rallying now the team, to be able to achieve the what we are building. But essentially the team now should be informed of why we are building it. And then the other thing that product managers do is they actually connect what is being delivered to actual business and customer value. I think I talked about that early in the conversation. So not only are you just pushing out, products, features. You're actually connecting that to actual business value for the organization and for the customer. So, very big distinction between product managers and project management.
Yeah.
Another thing about what I think a good product manager should do is not only should you focus on the here and now, what you're building, why we are building it, but it should also be futuristic and be able to craft out a vision of where you would like your product to look like in the future. So you don't only think about the here and now, you should also be able to define and curate what the future looks like for your product. Yes. Yeah.
Okay. And speaking of, looking ahead in the future, what innovations or emerging MarTech trends are you excited about in the context of product management for digital financial services or otherwise?
Wow, that's an interesting question. There's a lot that's happening right now in the world of technology and how that impacts product. I think one of the things we're going to increasingly start seeing is a lot of hyper personalization of products. Not just getting a product, but sort of getting a product that is curated for example, for Fiona. That you're able to get a view that is curated to you based on your profile, based on your behavior, based on probably where you even the places you go, and so on and so forth. I think hyper personalization is something you're going to see increasingly much of it.
Okay.
And also with what is happening on the AI front, it's going to make that possible because a lot of people have a lot of data. So being able to crunch that data and to curate something very personalized for individuals is something we're increasingly going to see happening very fast. Again, something I think we're going to see is artificial intelligence, machine learning being included into marketing technology products. Already we do have some of that happening, especially if you're doing Google Ads. There's machine learning at the back of that, and it essentially learns who you're targeting, and it's actually able to target much better at a lower cost. Essentially, we start seeing a lot of that. The use of AI in marketing technology, and a lot of it being automated with what's happening with agentic AI. So increasingly, we start seeing a lot of that, going forward.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. And is it already something that you're implementing at M-Pesa Africa?
Yes, definitely. It's something which we are looking at. For example, in DRC, we've done a recommendation solution which looks at individual customer profiles, what they're doing, and us being able to serve them services and products just based on their behavior. So yes, it's something which we already including in what we do on the M-Pesa app. Yes.
Okay, wonderful. As we close this wonderful conversation, any last words or any important key points that we haven't touched on that you wanted to highlight before we close this discussion?
I think the other, maybe as we close, I think there's a growing discussion that is happening about data privacy, trust, and I think as a product manager, as you build solutions, as you collect more user data, I think building and maintaining trust with your customers is going to be a differentiator going forward. Because users are becoming more privacy aware. They're expecting a lot more transparency in how their data is used. I think as we go forward, obviously, how you implement your personalization is going to be very, very important. And how customers are informed, especially on, for example, do they have opt-out options for your services? It's going to be very important. Do you get consent, for example, on how your services are being used? Do they know, how you're personalizing their data, and so on and so forth? So I think that's going to be a very, very important conversation. But I think at the end of the day, just to close the conversation, for me, product management is a force for transformation. I look myself as a digital transformation leader. Yeah, you're not just building products. You're a force for transformation. You're understanding people. You're navigating complexity, and you're building with intention. So, and for us in emerging markets, product management is a platform for solving problems. Yeah, we don't have the benefit of just building. Yeah, the luxury of just building products. We solve problems. So for anyone who's curious about product, it's important to just lean into the problems that you're seeing, whether in your organization or not, and being relentlessly user focused. That helps you to build products better than anything else.
Absolutely. Yeah. Thank you so much. That was a really important point actually on data privacy. As you mentioned, there's so much data that's collected, with while using the products, and also, as you mentioned, different touch points. So definitely a key point when it comes to building digital products is how do you safeguard user privacy and user data and so on. So thank you for bringing that up as well. It's been a real pleasure to speak to you, Jason, today. Thank you for being on our podcast and for shedding light on the practice of product management. It's dynamic nature, and the fact that it's a problem solver, and a real game changer on the continent, because we are really in a transformational stretch.
Correct.
And the more people can understand how to solve problems effectively,
correct,
I think is quite insightful and a really gem of a discussion that we've had.
Thank you for having me, and I've really enjoyed the conversation, Fiona.
Thank you. And that's a wrap on today's conversation. If you enjoyed this deep dive into product management and MarTech, make sure to follow the show and leave us a comment. It helps others discover these important conversations. You can also connect with me on LinkedIn and keep the conversation going there as well. Thank you for listening, and until next time, keep exploring the edges where marketing meets technology.